not scared of suffering. They are scared of what happens once it's gone. Dostoevsky said this in 1864. Man is sometimes extraordinarily passionately in love with suffering. And I know your first reaction is, that's not me. I'm trying to heal. I want to be happy. But stay with me for a second. An iron that's just sitting there cold and unformed is nothing. But the moment fire touches it, it starts to glow. It starts becoming something. Just like it, when our life is too comfortable, too quiet, something in us goes looking for the fire. Not because we want to enjoy pain, but because fire makes us feel something is happening in our life, like we exist. And then it goes further than that. When a wound is fresh, it's just pain. But over time, something shifts. You start sharing and people gather and listen. Then they say, I feel that too. And suddenly the wound is not a wound anymore. It is the most interesting thing about you. The thing that makes you visible in a world where ordinary happiness makes you feel invisible. This is why tragedy gets million views. This is why the moment somebody opens up about their darkest chapter, the internet stops scrolling. Because we recognize it instantly. Because we have all built something around our pain. At some point, people do not want to heal unconsciously. Because healing would mean closing the wound. And closing the wound means losing the purpose or identity that you built around that pain. And long before social media, Dostoevsky saw this coming. He called it the palace of crystal. Imagine a perfect place where there is no pain, no struggle, no fiction. Everything designed for your happiness. Sounds beautiful, right? But he said humans would still destroy it because a life with no resistance, no struggle, no darkness doesn't feel like a life. It feels like a display case. Beautiful from the outside, lifeless from the inside. But the thing is that suffering is not itself a problem. Unconscious suffering is the problem. A version of suffering that keeps you small and becomes your ceiling. That is the issue. And that's the suffering you live inside without knowing why or what it is doing to you. And then there is another kind of suffering. A suffering that is chosen, conscious and oriented towards something. Now this kind of suffering is not opposite of joy. In fact, that is the deepest kind of joy. Because joy that has never touched suffering is just pleasant. It's on surface level. But ultimately, it's never been tested by anything real.